been a little while, but the pink book is back. It's the West Ham Transfer Rumours show, and we have a few rumours for you today. Some of it nonsense, some of it completely made up, but one or two of them might just happen. Before we get into it, I just thought I'd mention the subscriber count, because I mentioned in the last video that we'd hit 18,000 subscribers. We've got over 100 more in that video, so I thought if I mention it now at the start, like I am, we might get a few more. So join in the journey, and what a journey is going to be all summer, dealing with this rubbish. But the first one isn't rubbish really. Alex Kral, you've heard of him, the Czech Republican centre midfielder. You've heard of him because we've been linked with him for quite a while. And if you were to show someone like myself or yourself, not you, if you are Czech Republican or you have a superior knowledge of the Czech League or the national side, I'm not including you, I'm including everyone else. If you were to get shown the Czech Republican national side and say pick two players that you might want to come to West Ham, you'd probably pick Alex Kral and Adam Hoslek, the youngster that Gonzo keeps banging on about. Now, I've seen Kral a couple of times, only play for Czech Republic, but in my defence, right, he plays for Spartak Moscow. There's no way I have watched him play for his club. I've seen him play for his country a few times. He plays centre midfield next to Thomas Souček as well, and he's hard to miss with his hair. Decent enough from when I've seen him. He hasn't stood out. He wasn't man and match or anything like that, but he certainly wasn't poor. But as I said, I've seen him twice, I think, maybe 3 times. So it's a very small pool that I've seen him from. But the reason there's substance to this rumour is it's from his agent. His agent has confirmed to Czech Republican media outlet that they're in talks with West Ham about bringing him to the London Stadium prior to Euro 2020. Now, the rumoured price fee is around 14 million, which I think makes it... I think that adds substance to it as well. I don't think it's an unrealistic figure for someone with, he's 23 years old, he's got decent experience, he's in the Czech Republican team, he's highly held in high regard. I like my stats, his stats look good, his numbers are impressive defensively and offensively. They're not that bad either. He creates more key passes per game than Pablo Fornals on average, which is interesting for someone playing centre midfield in a deeper position. We need cover in there. I guess the question is, what we're going to do. We've got Kral, Souček and Rice. You can't start all three, or can you? And we go back to our back three. There's a possibility we play 3 centre midfields. But what it does do is allow Souček and or Rice to get a rest occasionally. We saw at the back end of last season. Last season is weird calling it last season now, isn't it? The season's just finished. We saw at the back end of it what it's like without Rice, what it's like with a tired Souček. Prior to Rice getting injured, I thought they both looked a bit fatigued as well. So we need someone in there that can come in and we won't suffer. Because whenever Rice comes out, or you'd imagine if Souček come out, we just wouldn't be the same team. So we need someone that can go in there and keep the standard as high as it is. And I think this guy ticks a lot of the boxes, despite my small pool of watching him. So there you go, Alex Kral. This summer when he plays for Czech Republic against my team Scotland, your team England, I say your team, most of you will be supporting England. Keep an eye out for him. He might even be a West Ham player. He might have 3 West Ham players starting for Czech Republic this summer. So an interesting link, no doubt. Now, before I continue with the transfer rumours, this video is sponsored by the guys over at 5 Yards, who are an online transfer market for football fans. So if you're a bit like me and you're thinking you can detect players before they get bigger and better, if you like, head over there, you can sign up. Now, it's 18 plus because there is a gambling aspect to it. You're betting on the transfer market values of these players, and there's one guy I've invested in that's coming up in this video, and there's proof of it on my Twitter page. You follow me on Twitter at RedHammer8. I tweeted a couple of weeks ago. We'll get onto it in just a second, but the link to 5 Yards if you want to know more is in the description below and the pinned comments. A massive thank you to them for their continued support of the channel. It's helping us maybe do this full time, so cheers 5 Yards. But anyway, back to the transfer rumours. Olivier Giroud, freebie. I said freebie. He's leaving Chelsea, 34 years of age. We're being linked to him, and you know something, I'm not against it. I am not against Giroud at all, providing we bring in a substantial striker. I've said before in the past, if we're going to get someone like Giroud, we're going to get a cheap signing like Giroud. The other striker better be 30 million plus, big money kind of thing. I don't want 2, 10, 15 million pound punts where like a Jetty, where something like that. You just got to be big and small. That makes sense. So Giroud would be good for me. I think he's a good signing, a good pedigree. He would give us a bit of a plan B. Recently, towards the end of the season, we were struggled against Everton. We struggled against Brighton. And in those games, I'm not going to lie, part of me thought we could do with Sebastian Haller on the bench for these, because you get him on and you can keep the crosses coming into the box and you've got a target man. Giroud would provide that. He'd provide a plan B. He won't be starting 30 games next season if he joins. I'd be surprised if he started 10. But what he does do, he gives you that option on the bench that if you need a goal, you've got someone that can come on that can provide that, or can provide sort of the knockdown or something like that in the box. We're also being linked with Christian Benteke. Now, when I say we're being linked with him, he's out of contract at Crystal Palace, and this all came from a Benteke post on Instagram. He put up a picture of himself in the gym with the cross hammers emoji on it, and that was it. It's a bit cryptical. I don't really see that suggesting that he's involved in a move to West Ham United. Again, a bit like the Giroud thing, I think it would be a fantastic signing on free transfer, and where free transfers aren't free per se, you've still got to pay them a decent amount of money. Their signing on fee they demand becomes a bit excessive given that there's no transfer fee attached. But I think Benteke, Giroud, I think it'd be clever signings. We need squad depth. We're now in Europa League. We've got 6 group games to play. We need squad depth. I think either of those would be clever purchases, providing we get that big striker in. The striker I mentioned earlier on is Sasa Kladzic, the Stuttgart striker, 6'7". He's a big geezer, isn't he? But I tell you what, for a big lad, his touch ain't that bad. In the one game I've seen him play, Austria played Scotland, he scored a hat-trick. I said he didn't really score a hat-trick, he scored 2 officially. The third one was ruled out from VAR, I thought it was pretty lenient, it shouldn't really have got ruled out, and he looked good. He looked like he had a decent bit of pace about him. Like I said, his touch was really good, and in the air it was just brutal. 23 years old, scored 16 goals in Bundesliga this season in 33 appearances. However, only 23 were starts, so it's not a bad goal scoring record. He sort of fits the profile to some extent as to what West Ham might be looking for. His price tag ain't too chunky, rumoured to be around £80 million. But the main thing here is that Stuttgart are sort of skint. They've got no money. They need to sell 1 or 2 players, and he's obviously the one that's worth a little bit of money. That could probably, they sell him, they probably won't be forced to sell anyone else in their squad. So it's a bit of a difficult decision. Do they sell 2 or 3 players, or do they sell their one key player? Should they sell the key player, we might just see him at the London Stadium. I'm not too sure if this rumour's got legs in it or not, although the striker certainly does have legs, big long ones at that too. Then next up we've got Haksabanovic. Remember him, the former West Ham player? We loaned him out. He's just joined Rubin Kazan. Now the reason this is important to West Ham, he's joined Rubin Kazan for £5 million, and we get 20% of that. So West Ham just received £1 million for nothing. Now that's good business. These are the type of deals that I really like. When I was talking about the guy who signed from Reading the other day, Thierry, I still don't know how to pronounce his surname, so I'm going to call him Thierry from now on. When I was talking about him, and they were saying that these are the deals we like. I want to see us bring these youngsters in. If they make it, fantastic. We've got a first team player that's cost us under £1 million. If they don't make it, you can still shift them on usually and get a bit of money. And in Haksbanovic's case, he never really got a chance at West Ham. He's gone abroad, he's done it there, he's impressed, he's earned another move, and we receive a bit of money from that. That's really, really good business from the club. So £1 million in the transfer kitty, which is you're not going to be signing much players for that, but it pays for the Reading players transfer anyway. Now next up we've got a few bits. It's the way to get bitty now. I'm not going to mention them all. Oliver Nitcham, Celtic centre midfielder, he's left Celtic. They've sort of had a mutual consent. He's left. We're being linked to him mainly because his agent is Will Salthouse. That agent again, it would provide cover for centre midfield. I'm not sure I'm too keen on him. I think the ability is there. I think he's a good player. I think is he good enough for West Ham? I'm not sure. There would be a risk element there in terms of his ability. However, his attitude ain't the best. He's one of those players. It's a bit like what Markovic was for West Ham. Great player on his day. However, comes with baggage, so we say, and I think that's what Nitcham provides as well. So could be a clever signing, but it's a bit risky. We've also been linked with Markovic himself again. Karen Brady slagged him off. Thus, I can't see him wanting to come back, but it's not stopped the rumours that he does want to come back to West Ham. He is interested in a pay cut. Not going to lie, my stance on him has somewhat lessened since hearing Martin Noble on the Peter Crouch podcast. Martin Noble basically said that he's a really nice guy, he's friends with a lot of people, they missed him when he left, kind of thing. And I've gone from, don't want you back because of what you've done, to I probably don't want you back anyway because you're 32 years old and you've been playing in China for the last 2 years. So not really about his attitude problems now. It's more about question marks over his playing ability. I'd rather see Giroud or Benteke than Markovic, if I'm honest. Now Declan Rice today has been linked to Man United again. Apparently Man United want to sign him. They're going to press on. I'm not really too bothered by the rumours, if I'm honest. I've resigned myself to the fact that Declan will one day leave West Ham. I'm not convinced it's this summer. I think he might want to stay because we've got the Europa League competition going on, and that might just entice him to stay for one more season at least. But he's good enough to go on and win titles, and I think he will win the Premier League one day with some shooting. his next move be the right one. I'm not even sure Man United would be the correct move for him. I think he'd be better off waiting another year and hoping that Man City comes up with Fernandinho's future, sort of, he's expected to stay for a further year then leave. They would need a replacement for him. Declan would be 23 years old at that point. Perfect. It would cost a lot of money, but when you've got loads of money, you don't need to worry about buying players at the right time. This is why West Ham, going back to Alex Kral, maybe getting him now before the Euros for 40 million is clever, because should he perform well at the Euros, he might be worth 20 million or something. Man City don't need to worry about that. City don't need to worry about a player's value going up by 20% or anything like that. They can afford the additional 20%. We need to find players before they get extra good. City can buy world-class players ready-made off the shelf kind of thing. If you know what I mean. City can go in and get a fancy baker to make a real one-off cake for that person. Whereas West Ham, we got to go to the supermarket and buy all the ingredients, put it together and hope to produce something that is compatible to that baker. That makes sense? Probably not. Weird cake analogy for you anyway. Sam Johnson's continued being linked to us for around about 10-15 million. The West Brom goalkeeper. I don't see it. I still don't see it. Despite all the rumours, is there interest from Marseille? I'm sure we are looking at him. I'm sure we are interested in him. I mean, we do think he's a good player. However, I just don't see us spending that much money on a goalkeeper this summer. As simple as that. I might be wrong. I hope I am. I like Sam Johnson. I just don't see it. Jesse Lingard, obviously, he made an Instagram post today, which you can look at it both ways. A lot of people are reading as his goodbye. I don't think it is. I think it covers all angles. I think it certainly covers him not coming back to West Ham, which is, thank you. Love my football there. Love my time at West Ham. Love playing with the lads, catching a bit. But I also read it as, I want to come back. I've loved my time there. I want to come back. But he can't piss. He's got to watch what he's doing. He's still a Man United player. He can't say anything that disrespects Man United. Can't say anything that disrespects West Ham. He's got to keep the post generic. Show respect to both fan bases, both football clubs. I think he's done absolutely that in his post as well. I'm reading nothing into it at this point. Now the last player is Danjuma and the Bournemouth winger. The reason we're being linked to him is because he's basically confirmed he wants to move to the Premier League. We have been linked to him. Obviously, they got knocked out of the playoffs by Brentford. And when he got asked about the sort of speculation surrounding his future, he basically said, I don't see myself in the Championship next season. I want to play at the highest level. I don't want to be in the Championship. There's a come and get me plea. That is something I've heard. I'm not sure we will be the club that go in for him, though. Bear in mind, he is a winger. I don't see why we would go get him. He's valued around about 10-15 million pounds. Nothing too excessive. I'd be surprised if he goes that cheap, though. I reckon he'd be nearer the 20 million pound mark. But bear in mind the side Ben Ram with him, we've got Jared Bowen there. I don't think we need a winger, and I don't think we need to be spending 15-20 million on a winger from the Championship either. I just don't see it being a clever spend of our not limited budget. And imagine we've got a decent transfer kitty there to spend, but we need quite a few bodies in. We need a few bodies, and that's my worry a little bit. And when you start buying £10 million players here, there and everywhere, I think you lessen the quality. You're getting quantity instead of quality per se, and I'd rather get 2 or 3 big ticket players and 2 or 3 shrewd signings like Giroud, which allows you to fill out the squad but really upgrade your 11 at a time. Because I think that players like Danjuma, you're improving the squad. Does he start? I'm not convinced he does start. And we can't have players like that. I'm aware you're waiting to mention Alex Kral and say, does Alex Kral start? Well, I think he would start. I think he'd get plenty of opportunities. I think he's possibly good enough that you never know. He might come in and put Souček or Rice on the bench for a couple of games. It's unlikely, but that's got to be the aim. I suppose you could say this thing about Danjuma, but we've never struggled with wingers this season. We've been okay for wide players, but we've just not been okay for players in the middle of the park. Hopefully that makes sense. Possibly not. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. Drop a like in the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. I'll catch you in a bit.